Have you ever been fined for singing in public, or maybe just caught wearing stripes in the wrong state? It sounds absurd, like a scene from a comedy sketch. But believe it or not, these are actual laws that still exist. Welcome back to Know, where we uncover the strange and fascinating truths hidden in everyday life. Today's episode is all about something we all live with, the law. But not just any laws. We're talking about the strangest, most bizarre, head-scratching laws that are still technically in effect around the world. These laws might seem like relics from a strange past, and often they are, but they also tell stories about who we were, how we lived, and what society once feared or valued. So buckle in for a global legal journey that's as enlightening as it is entertaining. Let's explore the laws that make you say, "Wait, what?" Let's kick things off in the picturesque, orderly nation of Switzerland. In certain regions of Switzerland, particularly in small villages and conservative cantons, singing in public is restricted, especially during quiet hours like evenings and Sundays. Now, this law isn't about silencing joy or banning street performers. It's rooted in Swiss culture's deep respect for silence and peace, particularly in shared living spaces. Historically, loud or disruptive behavior, including singing, was seen as a public nuisance. And because Switzerland operates under a system of decentralized governance, local municipalities often pass and enforce their own regulations. That means, what's allowed in one canton might get you a warning, or even a fine, in another. Exceptions exist for festivals, holidays, and official performances, but spontaneous karaoke on the train? Maybe don't risk it. This law serves as a great reminder that what feels normal in one country may be disruptive in another, shaped by different cultural priorities. In this case, quiet and order. Next, we're heading to the US, specifically to Maine, where there's an old, rarely enforced law that forbids wearing striped clothing. At first glance, this sounds ridiculous. Stripes are everywhere, fashion, sports uniforms, even safety gear. But the story behind this law is rooted in symbolism. Back in Europe during the Middle Ages and Renaissance periods, striped garments were often associated with social outcasts, prisoners, executioners, clowns, prostitutes, and criminals. This stigma carried over into early American culture. In the 1800s, Maine, like many other regions, adopted laws to enforce morality through appearance. Wearing stripes could be interpreted as associating with criminality or disorder. Over time, the law became obsolete, but it was never officially repealed. So while no one's checking your shirt pattern in Portland today, the law technically still exists in dusty legal archives, a quirky example of how fashion, morality, and social order once collided. And now, we go to the pet-loving city of San Francisco. You'd think a city filled with dog parks and pet-friendly cafes would be a furry paradise, and in many ways it is. But in certain neighborhoods and public zones, including specific parks, beaches, and historical landmarks, pets are restricted or outright banned, and those laws are very real. For example, in areas like Alamo Square Park or Crissy Field, dogs must be leashed or maybe prohibited altogether. This stems from environmental concerns, particularly protecting wildlife like nesting birds, as well as sanitation and noise issues in shared spaces. Tensions have risen over the years between pet owners and city planners, sparking heated debates over the rights of pet owners versus environmental and public health priorities. It's a great example of how modern urban living constantly negotiates space between nature and development, pets and people, freedom and responsibility. So, why do these strange laws even exist? Why do they stick around even when they seem outdated or ridiculous? One answer, they're relics of a different time. Societies evolve, but the law doesn't always catch up right away. Many of these strange laws were made in response to specific social fears or historical conditions, and then simply forgotten. Laws like no striped clothing or no whistling after 11 p.m. were once attempts to maintain public decency, order, or religious sanctity. In many cases, they made sense at the time, even if today they feel more like superstition than strategy. Some laws, like Singapore's no spitting regulation, still have practical roots. This particular law was introduced in the 1990s as part of a broader campaign for public cleanliness. It helped Singapore tackle hygiene issues in a dense urban environment, especially amid concerns about diseases like SARS. Today, the city remains one of the cleanest in the world, thanks in part to its strict laws, which also include bans on chewing gum sales and littering. Yes, these laws are strict, but for many Singaporeans, they're not seen as oppressive, but as necessary compromises for a clean, efficient city. It's all about how people view freedom versus social responsibility. Other laws endure simply because they're part of tradition. Even if no one enforces them, they stay on the books. sometimes because removing them feels like erasing part of the cultural identity. Take some small German towns, where local laws still prohibit dancing on religious holidays like Good Friday. These laws are rarely enforced, but they reflect the region's historical connection to religious customs. And here's the thing, not all traditions are logical, but they don't have to be. They're emotional, often symbolic, and laws, oddly enough, can be just that. Each strange law is like a mini time capsule. It tells us about the concerns, values, and power structures of its time. For example, laws banning women from wearing pants in 19th century Paris weren't just about fashion. They reflected strict gender roles and fears of rebellion. Or how about those British laws that ban handling salmon in suspicious circumstances? They sound silly now, but they were originally written to combat black market fishing. Even the strangest laws can give historians, sociologists, and even everyday citizens a better understanding of how societies evolved. Our morals shift with time, and so do our laws. What was once immoral, dancing on Sundays, eating ice cream in public, living with a partner unmarried, is now widely accepted. But sometimes the law lags behind. Outdated laws show how slow social systems can be to update, even when public opinion has moved on. Strange laws offer a mirror. They show not just who we used to be, but how far we've come, and how far we still have to go. But here's the good news, societies can change. These laws may stay on the books for a while, but they also serve as a reminder that laws are not fixed in stone. Through reforms, public pressure, and democratic action, we can adapt the legal system to better reflect our values. These laws remind us of our power to shape the rules we live by. Now comes the big question. Should we repeal these laws, or preserve them as curiosities? Some legal historians argue that these strange laws are cultural artifacts, valuable for educational purposes or historical preservation. They're part of our identity, but critics say that keeping unenforced or outdated laws clutters legal codes, causes confusion, and sometimes allows selective enforcement. In some cases, these strange laws can be used as loopholes or tools of discrimination, even if that wasn't their original intent. The key is balance. We can preserve history without letting it govern the present. Legal reform doesn't have to mean forgetting. It can mean contextualizing, teaching, and updating. In Germany, many historical laws are archived and taught in schools to ensure the past is never forgotten, but they're no longer legally binding. That model can work elsewhere. We shouldn't pretend the past didn't happen. But we also shouldn't be governed by it. Laws reflect us, our priorities, our fears, and our hopes. And if we want them to evolve, we have to talk about them. Open dialogue, in public forums, in schools and media, helps societies stay aligned with the people they serve. If something feels out of step with our values, it's up to us to question it, research it, and change it. In the end, these strange laws are more than just punchlines. They're windows into our past, often funny, sometimes troubling, but always thought-provoking. They remind us how far we've come, and how adaptable we really are. So let me ask you, if you could change one strange or outdated law from anywhere in the world, what would it be? And why? Let's start a conversation in the comments. You never know what weird law someone else might know about. The law may not always make sense, but it always tells a story. From forbidden fashion to silent streets, we hope today's journey gave you a sense of wonder about the strange, surprising world we live in. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you learned something new or had a laugh along the way. Until next time, stay curious, and maybe check your local laws before putting on those striped pants. Know more. Be more.